Okay, the panel is called Friends of John Carpenter. Folks, so, when's the last time you've seen John and how's things going like that? Are we still friends with John these days? You can start down here.
We have a good answer for that, because Nick and Nancy and I were at his Hollywood Walk of Fame Star celebration. So we got to witness that together and then have a nice lunch afterwards. So we had a good time there. It was really fun to hear Greg Nicotero's little speech on him and to see him be honored right outside of
the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel.
Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, which is across from well, it's no longer the Grauman's Chinese Theater, but what is it now? The Kodak Theater. Right? Is it the Kodak Theater? Or has it changed again?
Yes.
Right where they hold
the Kodak Theater, where they do the Academy Awards. John was pretending that he was getting an Academy Award.
It was a lovely event, so that's the last time I saw him. I don't know if you saw him.
I saw him 2 weeks ago. There was a show in Long Beach called Midsummer Scream. No one went to that, probably. You went to it.
Oh, yeah.
I did. I didn't see
John was there.
Oh, gosh, he was.
Yeah.
Oh,
Had dinner with him, and
that's right.
And his wife paid the bill for me, which is that's a whole new thing. Because I usually, go after one of these shows that I make a little bit of money, I take John out for lunch. And I always pay for it because that's the kind of great guy and friend I am.
Nick Patchell and John have been lifelong friends the whole way. I'll even say worked on the early stuff, went to school, studied it, even jammed together. When's the last time the Coupe de Bills got together?
The Coupe de Bills got together in midsummer, right after, actually, we had the Star on the Walk of Fame. At one point, we were going to sing the title song to Big Trouble in Little China at his new shows he's going to do. He's going to do 2 shows in New York. I don't know if you've ever seen his live show where he does his music from all his movies and they project the movies behind it. It's a great show. So he's going to do 2 shows in New York and I think 4 shows or so in LA, which you guys could get to. And it's in November. It's wonderful if you get a chance to go and say, we were going to go and do it live, but John chickened out.
A recording of that now, you would sell 100,000 copies of that, no problem. You kidding me? Yeah. All right.
So when was the last pickleball match?
You didn't answer. When's the last time you saw John Carpenter, since we're all friends?
Oh, the last time I saw John Carpenter was still alive. I'm having a hard time remembering. It was probably one of these things. I think the last time I saw him, honest to God, was in Pittsburgh at a music concert that he was having with his band and his son Cody, playing, both of them up there playing keyboards, him chewing gum out of his ass, trying to quit smoking cigarettes. And he did a great job at it, he didn't smoke anymore. And it was at a wonderful old music hall, part of the Carnegie Music Hall in Homestead, where Carnegie built libraries and that, the Robert Baer, for 120 years ago. That's the last time I saw him. And a funny thing happened. When my wife and I went to see him, Adrienne got us tickets. And so we get down to take our seats, and all these fans come over and start yanging on me. How did you do? You signed this? How did you like working on this? And I'm shooting the shit with these fans, and then I'm thinking, John's up there behind the curtain going, is that asshole ever gonna sit down and start this thing? So I sat down, curtains open, and started. And he had good patter in between songs. It was really fun, wonderful seeing him and Cody, and then we saw them backstage after and shot the breeze a little bit.
All right.
That's the last time. It had to be 8, 9 years ago.
Oh,
Well, we bumped. That's not there. We did bump into him at
No, I saw him with you.
age 45.
25.
Yeah.
25 years of terror in Pasadena. 3 years ago.
It's all right.
Close
We
enough.
got Mr. Atkins, very limited time, so we're going to fire a couple of questions at him. He's got a photo op he's got to get to. So if you do have a question for Tom Atkins, I would say line up, real quick. Couple of you. Yes. I wanted to ask Mr. Atkins what he thought of Halloween 3 not continuing the Michael Myers story.
Okay, for me, I was tickled to get the job on Halloween 3, and it never occurred to me that it was going to be a problem about Michael Myers, because I thought, this is a really good movie just by itself. It doesn't need Michael Myers. We ain't got to show you no Michael Myers. There's no room in there for him. I took a pin to do the job and not have Michael Myers. And I must say, though, many fans did not agree with me on that. And would come up to the table and say, where the hell's Michael Myers? Why are you making me about Michael Myers? And I gave them pretty much the same answer. There might have been a few F-bombs in there. But I'm not going to do that here, because I'm civilized.
and those kids.
Yeah, and there's little kids here.
In the fog.
Oh, in the fog. What is the first? Oh, yes.
In the fog.
So in the fog. What is the first thing that Nick Castle, my character, not that
Not
Nick
this
Castle,
Nick.
Would have done.
you know what I mean. What would he do right after surviving that night in that movie? Kind of. And here's what I think. I think Jamie's character would move on right away.
Vancouver.
She would continue down the road looking for whatever she was looking for, and working on her art. And I think Nick would have moved right in with Stevie Wayne. Adrienne, they would have teamed up right away. That's my opinion. And I'm sticking with it. And because I think they had a real bonding, and he grew to like the kid a lot, Ty, and that's what I think. He and Adrienne would have hooked up.
That works for me. Yes. We have a question. Okay. We're good? Okay. So yes, PJ, continue with the Friends of John Carpenter. What have you done to keep up with him lately? You did the Hollywood Walk of Fame. What else?
Yeah, I saw him at the Midsummer Screening too at Long Beach. I totally forgot about that. so it's always fun to see him and people, clamoring to say hi and get a selfie. And he's always so sweet. He always gives me a big hug and asks how I am. My son happened to be there with his son and my daughter and everybody. I think he only got to meet my son though because it was such a rush. But that's always nice because he likes to keep up with what we're all doing in our lives. So I appreciate that.
Nancy?
I don't know. I keep thinking about the sequel to The Fog with Adrienne.
Listen, legacy sequels are baking right now.
I think it would be a pretty
No,
cool sequel. There was no sequel to The Fog, right? That would be a pretty cool sequel. I like that idea.
I love it too.
Good.
We got one.
Well, The last time I saw John was when he got the big star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And if you guys go to Hollywood, you definitely have to go and see it because it's in a primo spot. No, it's in a really good spot. Yeah. So.
I love it.
Yeah.
We got a question from the audience here.
Yes, I wanted to ask Tom if there's any chance you might be able to share some good news and bad news.
Me?
with us. Yes.
Yeah,
Louder.
What was it again?
Good news and bad news from Tom Atkins.
Good news and bad news from Tom Atkins.
Oh, about work or something? Am I working on anything? Good news or bad news or what? What are you talking about?
I'm referring to Night of the Creeps, actually.
Night of the Creeps. Oh, the good news and bad news.
Oh yeah, Night of the Creeps. The hell's that got to do with John Carpenter? Thank you for the question. It was one of my favorite moments in Night of the Creeps, where I go into the dormitory, the girls' sorority house, and they're all waiting for their dates to come and take them to the formal, and they're all dressed up, and I come in looking out the window, knowing what's going on, and I turn to the girls with a cigarette in my mouth and a gun in my hand, and I say, well, girls, the good news is your dates are here. The bad news is they're dead.
I'm curious to know how you guys feel about how they ended. Halloween ends. If you were happy with how it ended, with them killing off Michael, if you would have thought it would be better if he lived, maybe if Lori would have died instead, or both of them together.
I have no kids.
Okay, yeah, I can start with that one. Did you all hear the question?
Yeah.
It's basically, what do you think of Halloween Ends? And about Michael dying. Yeah, I don't think he's dead. He won't be dead. We know he's going to be in a video game. And I know the folks over at Trancas and various places are, cooking up something else. We don't know yet. As far as the movie is concerned, I thought it was a big gamble. As half, I think the audience probably feels it was good. The other half doesn't like it at all. And so in a way, I kind of tip my hat to David Gordon Green for trying something. I just didn't go for something safe. And I told him when I read the script.
Do you have that giant poster?
Oh, she doesn't like it either. David's a good director, and I thought it was well done. So we'll see where they go next.
And also, just as a heads up, we're going to have these random screens happening throughout the hall. I'm sitting in front of the universe.
Shut up!
Okay, how about now? I'm studying film at the University of Texas. Do you have any advice for aspiring actors or filmmakers or anything of the sort?
Advice for a film student that you might have to offer.
There's a teacher.
Study hard.
Be nice to your teachers.
Be nice to your teachers. Right. I think the thing that helped me the most when I went to college is that I had the advantage of learning many different disciplines. And so I could do a lot of different things when I began in the business. So I did wardrobe, costuming, I did, set decoration. I did script supervising. I think I was a third assistant camera woman. I did a lot of things as I was, thinking about breaking into acting. And I actually enjoyed working behind the camera more than I did in front of the camera. So that would be my advice. Learn how to do it all, and then you can pretty much fit in wherever something might be needed. And that's a way to get your foot in the door. Persevere.
Tom Atkins, of all the films you've been in, which one was your favorite? Which one you played in? Which one was your favorite?
Which movie was your favorite?
Oh, okay. You look good.
Oh, he needs to wash his face.
I know. Night of the Creeps is my favorite. Yeah. Of the ones I
Maniac Cop. I remember that.
Maniac Cop.
Oh, yeah. Those of you who don't know, basically, an undead cop who seeks revenge not upon their sinner because he was wrongly convicted. It's really good. I mean, you guys can check it out anywhere. There's 3 films of it. As for
something called Maniac Cop?
Oh, yeah.
He said he liked it. He loved it.
I'm glad you liked that. Yeah. I thought it was one of the weirder movies I ever made. And there's a guy, Bruce Campbell, big guy. Every time we run into each other, which isn't that often, but mostly in Chicago for some reason, a flashback convention, he says, we say to each other, what the hell is it with William Lustig? He wrote it and directed both, or 10 of them, I don't know how many there were. But I was the star of the first one, and Bruce was in the first one, but not the star. And in the first one, I am dead and out the window on top of a cab in 20 minutes into the movie. And Bruce said, what the hell's the matter with him? Why would he do that? I was the star of the second one, and I get stabbed at that at a newsstand for having nothing to do with the movie, no reason whatsoever. I'm the star of the movie and I'm dead in 25 minutes. That's why I think it was a very weird, bizarre movie. I think the real star of all those Maniac Cops was Zadar, the guy who plays the Maniac Cop.
Yeah, I think that if they were making Maniac Cop, I think that your character should stay alive all the time as well. I mean, that's what you should have done in the original time, you know?
Whatever you said, you're right.
As Michael Myers, I gotta say, you really scared the crap out of a lot of people who thought the ages. That mask of yours, I swear to God, buddy, when I saw that when I was 12 years old, that mask, I had a feeling, oh my God, that was pure evil. I was scared so bad, I couldn't sleep that night. Thank you very much for the horror, all the years of horror, buddy. And of course, you know, Michael Myers was killed off. You know, if I justify it, you guys are all. It started with Loomis Stroll, it ended with Stroll. So thank you.
You can't kill the bird. Hey, listen, before I want to expand on that. Most of us in this room have heard that iconic story about how they walked out with the mask, Emmett Kelly first, then that iconic white mask. Were any of you present when that happened?
Yeah, I actually saw the mask as it was being made.
Wow.
I think John went down, not John, Tommy Wallace went down to that store on Hollywood Boulevard.
It was like a collectibles, toy store.
It was a mask store, toy store, Hollywood toy store. And he bought 3 masks, and the Shatner mask was the one they chose, and they just dolled it up a little bit, and they took it to the set. But I remember, I guess it was Tommy who put it on, and I said, whoa.
Has he cut the eyes out or something?
Yeah, he just cut the eyes out a tiny little bit.
Do you remember what the third mask was?
No, I don't.
That's kind of a deep cut, you know?
But Tommy probably would remember.
We'll have to get him up here one of these days. I want to ask, do you think the Emmett Kelly mask would have had the same effect?
The what mask?
The clown masks that they were using before. The first they came out with an Emmett Kelly.
Clowns are never scary. Where's David?
It might have been scary, but I don't think it would have had the same effect at all, because the reason why that mask is scary is that it's vaguely real. It's just enough real, right? It's just enough.
Well, it's like a non-human. It's like a...
Yeah, a zombie.
A zombie. Well, not even a zombie. Yeah, it's scarier than a zombie.
This is a question for Nick Castle. So, what made you want to play Michael Myers in the first one?
He was forced to.
What made me want to play Michael Myers? Well, that's a simple story. I went to film school with John Carpenter, USC. That's another answer to the woman's question about what's your advice? Find your John Carpenter. But John was gonna, I worked on some of his movies. He was gonna shoot it Halloween close to where I live. And I went and talked to John about staying on the set so I would learn more about this craft. And he said, well, if you're gonna hang around, why don't you here? And he basically, figuratively, gave me the mask and said, put it on. And that was it. I was just to do it as a lark and to kind of get some experience on a set. So here I am 112 years later.
Nick, did you just show up in the jumpsuit? Or did they give you a jumpsuit?
Oh, no, they gave me the jumpsuit.
Okay.
You like your shirt?
Oh,
yeah.
Michael Meow.
This shirt is Michael Meowers. This is my cat, and if you have to see, this literally is my cat's face. So, I'm taking orders. No.
You could do it by 10 to the table, I think.
This is a question for all of you. I was wondering what your funniest or favorite memories are from making each of the movies, and also did you keep anything from the set?
Favorite memories?
Start with Nancy.
I don't know. It was just really a fun experience because it seemed like there were always funny moments happening on the set, just to keep things going, keep things lively. And I wouldn't say that I can't quite remember a favorite moment, but I did keep the plaid blanket that I wore, and I still have it. And I cover up my TV with it.
Yeah, there's not anything that stands out in particular, except everyone's heard the story of us having to put the leaves back in garbage bags. That to me was, what? I'm an actress. I have to help clean up the leaves?
That's right.
Well, we did, and I thought that was really sweet. In hindsight, looking back with Deborah Hill, who was just delightful, and we miss her a lot. At one point, I kept everything because all the wardrobe, I don't know about yours, it's probably all our own clothes. So I had that until it probably just got too small for me. But I love the little character, the little action figure that has the outfit, because I remember that jacket, I wore it all the time. And in the car where I say, don't rip my blouse, you idiot. I had just bought that pink silk blouse the day before, and it was $50. So when that came out of my mouth, it was real, because Bob, John Michael Graham, was grabbing for my shirt. And so I had kept that for a really long time too, but yeah, I don't have anything particular. But favorite memory is the making of the whole movie. And I was always very surprised, and again in hindsight, looking back, that the three of us, me and Nancy and Jamie, were able to bond from day one and act like giggly little schoolgirls. That's really the only teenager was Jamie. She was 19, and Nancy and I were a little bit older, and she was Jamie was very insecure and wondering, wished that she could change parts with me. And I said, no, your character's boring. Linda's fun. I'm not getting in my character. But I love that we were able to bond so quickly. And it shows in the movie, I think. It really does, that we were really, really good friends.
Yeah, that was
Any
good.
favorite memory on working on Halloween?
Oh, is this our relationship with John and stuff like
Any
that?
favorite memory?
Yeah.
Or keeping anything from the set.
This is how I met John. Adrian and my first wife, Garn Stevens, they were in Greece together and they were good friends. And Adrian called Garn and said, I'm getting serious about this guy I'm dating, and his first movie is coming out, and it's going to be at the Directors Guild, and I would like you and Tom to come and see it. And so Garn, me, and her friend Jean, whose husband ran a Russian restaurant somewhere, we go to see the movie, and we're right down front. I've never met John. I'm home. I don't know anything of what to expect. This is how they spent the entire movie. Garn was here on my left. Jeannie was there. Oh my God! Can we look? Can we look? And I said, yes, look now. There we go. Oh, you son of a bitch! Oh, that's all they said to the time. I loved that movie. It was so wonderfully scary, and you were so good in it. Everybody was so good in it, and it was terrifying. So I met John afterwards, and and they said at the end of the movie, they leaned across each other and said, we cannot let Adrienne marry this guy. And he did anyway.
That's hilarious.
And that's how I met him, was through that first night screening. And we went to their wedding, and I became friends with him. And he offered me the part of Nick in The Fog, and I was delighted to have that offer open up a whole new world for me, for horror film and the whole genre. So I'm forever grateful to John for that.
I hate to say it, but we do have to let Mr. Tom Atkins go and head to his photo op, so give it up one more time for Tom Atkins.
All right, thanks a lot.
We're going to keep the other three here. We're going to go If you have any questions for Nick, TJ, or Nancy, you can get in this line right here. We'll get you going. And Nick, you still have to finish her question of
Favorite moment, did you keep anything from the sets, or any of the things you worked on?
Favorite moment was the free lunches I got on the set. It's about as much as I made, too. What I kept the mask from the very first one until the second one was being put into production. Deborah Hill came by and said, needed to borrow it. And I stressed the word borrow. And I said, okay, but I never got it back. And I'm now suing the Deborah Hill estate for $1 million.
I think you could probably get a little bit more out of that.
$10 million.
Great. Hi, my question is for PJ and Nancy. One of the things that strikes me about the first Halloween, 1978, is the dialogue between the three of you. In the beginning of the movie, I met both of you earlier and shared that's my favorite part, and I think it's remarkable today, even, and I can imagine how remarkable it was back then. And I'm wondering if that was a draw to you, that depiction of friendship and how genuine that dialogue was in the beginning of the movie.
Well, Deborah Hill, I understand, is the one that wrote a lot of the girls' dialogue. And of course, we ad-libbed a lot. I had to throw in a few more totallys than were written on the screen. And then, like the scene where I'm walking out of school, when I say who needs books, I always forget all like that. It was only because Jamie and I were still walking and there was no cut. So I was like, we can't just be walking and not talking. Girls don't do that. So I just extended, and then going down the sidewalk, all of that interaction with Devon Graham, and I think he's cute. And there was probably a few little ad-libs here and there, and certainly, with me and Bob, but in terms of the girls, I think we were just able to be chattery because that's how high school girls are. And it did, make it seem like we'd known each other probably since kindergarten. It was our neighborhood. This is where we always played together and went trick-or-treating every Halloween and babysitting. So.
Yeah, I think you probably did a little more ad-libbing than I did, but I just think it was also just the atmosphere of the set that so many people were friends on that set, and there was just so much interchange going on, and that I think helped us stay in that space.
No, you're right. It was very relaxed, and it was a really, really relaxed set.
Yeah, and John helped, and Deborah helped a lot, and that ad-libbing and the just also it went really fast. John didn't waste a lot of time doing a lot of takes.
3 takes at the most.
Yeah, and that made a difference too. There was a sense of immediacy, that it's like happening now, right? And he also made me throw my voice up another octave higher, so I would sound more like a high school kid.
Oh.
He gave me that note a lot.
Stop sounding so sexy.
I'm curious, did any of you get to see the cut of Halloween before John scored it with the music and kind of think, oh shit, like the same thing he did?
Yeah, I did, and I thought it was really boring. I wasn't scared at all. And then I went to the screening with the music, and I was like this.
Man, music, power of music.
Yeah. No, it's true.
I wanted to cut in for a second. PJ, did you say 3 takes at the most? Is that like a John Carpenter overall thing?
I don't know if it's his overall thing. I do remember that if you got it in the first take, and maybe they do one for safety, because in those days you didn't see what you were filming. You had to wait till you got to the dailies, and obviously. So that was probably pretty nerve-wracking. I would be pretty, pretty nervous, and I'm like, I have to wait till tonight. Okay. And then you're not going to be able to do it again. So I think they were pretty good with not having to do redos or reshoots. I don't remember, but I do remember especially the strangling scene. We did it 3 times because the first 2 times I was giggling the whole time. Tickling my throat with a telephone cord. If any of you haven't tried that, it really tickles. Not that anybody has a phone anymore like that, but.
That's an interesting question. Has anybody tried that?
So I remember it was the 3rd take when Nick finally agreed to do it a little harder so that I could feel what it would be like. And but I kept saying, I don't want to hurt you. I go, but you have to kill me. So hurt me. Anyway, so.
By the way, I love you bringing back. Come on.
Well, wait, but do you have an answer to that? 3 takes? That was pretty much.
Yep.
Was
Or
there
seeing the
anything
cut
ever?
without the music.
But whatever, was there ever anything that had to be reshot the next day because, oh my gosh, because that was taking a chance. But that's the way it always was. Nobody could see what they were filming.
Did you go to the rough cut? You don't remember?
My question is for Nick. I was just wondering, how was it working with Donald Pleasance? And were you all able to be friends after he shot you 6 times?
Is what?
After he shot you 6 times.
Were you able to be friends with Donald?
Donald, as far as I was concerned, though, and saw, was kind of in his own world during the course of the first shoot. And I'm sure he didn't, he was picking up a payday more than it was like thinking it was going to be a big classic. And Marcus' career for years on end, if you when you think about it. I mean, he had a wonderful career up to then, and I regarded him as a great actor. But I really didn't have 2 words. We didn't exchange 2 words. Yeah, you know, he would do his scenes, and mainly, if you think about it, the shape isn't in many of the scenes other than the one where he shoots you. And then when he shot me, I think it was the stuntman, and then falling off was the stuntman. So, but you know, so I didn't have any real relationship. Unfortunately, I would have loved to have started it because I loved it in things like The Great Escape. I don't know if you guys seen that one.
Yeah.
Night from the Water. I mean, there's so many great movies, both from Europe and the United States.
Thank you. To add to that, I know John, because we all sat together at a big table and had lunch, and I think I remember saying to John, wow, he's pretty quiet. He goes, well, he wants to stay in character, so maybe don't bother him, because he's not avoiding you, he's not talking to you on purpose, but he's a method actor and he needs to stay in character. So that's the first time I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. Okay, I can do that. Thank you.
My question's mainly for all of you guys. What were your guys' thoughts on Rob Zombie version of Halloween?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't have an opinion because I haven't seen it. I'm so sorry.
And I only saw the first one. And I love Rob Zombie because of The Devil's Rejects, of course, and loved working with him. But yeah, not my favorite thing to delve so deeply. I kind of like Michael Myers as he was originally portrayed and written.
Yeah, well, you know, what I liked about it is I liked the idea of another filmmaker taking up the franchise and starting over again and doing it in his own way, you know. So I think if you like Rob's films, you know, it's kind of like you're more apt to go, hey, that's cool. That's the way he had imagined it. So I appreciated that. And I saw both of them. I just saw the second one maybe about a year ago, and I thought, wow, that's a fever dream. That's a crazy one. But you know, I appreciate his talent and stuff like that. As PJ was saying, I think as far as you know, comparing them, they're almost apples and oranges because the first one is not trying to psychoanalyze the character, but seeing them as a force of nature, which I think is probably a more successful way of doing this thing. What stands out about what makes this movie so memorable. So, but Rob's a good filmmaker, and I look forward to his new stuff.
I'll channel the great John Carpenter from a recent convention when that same question was asked, and he simply said, "Next question."
Since we're on the topic of the Rob Zombie versus the original, I've got to say my favorite part of the Rob Zombie movies is that Danielle Harris was in it. Love to see her in more Halloween movies. But the thing that struck me when we were talking about it is the thing I don't like most about those zombie movies is that they psychoanalyze the character. And to me, it seems much more scary to not know anything about it, the shape, basically. And so I'm just curious what your thoughts are on what that dynamic is, why that does seem to make it more scary.
Well, I mean, to me, it's self-evident as there's a long mystery, and it's enigmatic. It allows you to put your own interpretation and go into the depth of your own fears, as opposed to there's a guy with a problem that should be taking, some kind of antidepressant. See, that could have been it. Just give that young kid some antidepressants and he wouldn't have had this.
I think you nailed it, though. I mean, you don't barely see his eyes. He says not a word. He just very calculated in his movements, and it's
evil. It's pure evil. It's attack.
For Nick, what kind of direction did John give you when portraying Michael? As in, like, your movements or the tilting of the head, any of that was, how much of that was you and how much of that was John's direction?
Well, in general, John didn't direct me. He just, put on the, it's amazing how much the mask and the outfit, create their own entity. And just one time I asked him, how do you want me to walk? And he went, just go over there and he could walk over. He's in the middle of directing, in the middle of the night, and I'm asking him my motivation. And so, whatever, whatever I was doing, he was fine with. So he didn't come back and say, Nick, go slower. But he did, for instance, the head tilt business in the kitchen was all his idea. And he was actually saying it to me as it was being filmed, because I had no idea what he was looking for until I saw the dailies, and I, oh, that's cool. I like the way that looks.
Thank you. Awesome.
You're welcome.
Never said anything like pick it up and you were smashing through the closet or anything like harder or anything.
Smashing through the closet was Tommy Lee Wallace. Tommy did it a couple times. He's a shape. That's why you all got to get his signature if you haven't already, to get the main guys that were in the first one. And Tommy also put his hand through the door. Remember that one?
Yes. Kitchen.
Anything that were, because he was also a production designer, so he would, make a mark in the door where it had to be, and he said, Nick, you don't do that because you're going to break your hand. I know where to do it. And indeed, I think he did hurt his hand.
He might have,
through the door, yeah.
He was also the hand in the fog, because he had made all of the goop, and he had really large hands, and he wasn't much of an actor, but he was good with his hands, and so he was that hand in the fog too, which also was really scary. Yeah.
You gotta have great people behind the camera when you do something as well as we know. John did a brilliant job, and Deborah, and he was. But someone like Tommy Lee Wallace being your production designer and your editor, co-editor, and Dean Cundy being a great. The whole project was, really came together like lightning in a bottle, and it was great. But all these people were just so instrumental. No Tommy Wallace, no mask, no editing the right way, no designs, finding the right locations and all that stuff. Dude, it's a whole different movie.
And we had the Steadicam.
Well, we've been on Nick for a while. I'd rather end on PJ and Nancy. I don't mean it that way, but Nancy, you've moved on to teaching outside of acting over the years, and I want to know what some of the benefits of shifting to a different career midlife and going to teaching. What are the benefits and the highlights of that, and what do you miss about acting and filming?
Well, I'm pretty old, so I've done a lot of things.
Experience.
Yeah. But before I started teaching, I raised a couple of kids, and then I started a sculpting career. So I was making sculpture for a number of years, and then I got into teaching. I went back to school, and I had a great time in school, getting a master's degree so that I could get a teaching job. And so when that came along, and I realized how much I loved it, I really just thought, well, this is a really great day job. There's a lot of security in this, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm meeting really fascinating people and having great conversations, and the kids are amazing. So that was sort of the trajectory for me, and I actually forgot all about Halloween for many, many years until one day, I think it was Adrienne, called me up and said, hey, did you know there's this thing going on? There are these conventions now, and I think you've got some fans that might like to meet you. And I said, what? Oh, really? And sure enough, you know, I was, you know, it was a dim memory. It was really so long ago. We had, you know, when that movie, when the conventions came along, I think 30 years had almost gone by, right?
20
Yeah,
25th.
something. Yeah, because I went to the
25th.
25th anniversary of the Fog. That was a big convention in Chicago. That was tons of fun.
Yeah, some of the first ones were like specialty conventions just about Halloween and stuff like that.
Were they?
Well, I want to thank you for reliving some of your memories over the years, all of you, with the fans, and especially here at Albuquerque. Thank you guys for coming out.
Get out there and get an autograph, get a photo. Halloween stars are in Albuquerque, folks. Give it up.